that Friday feeling, old son.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Skirt. That's why we need. That's why we need our mix board so we can throw in the bullhorn sound.
Sicker.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I feel like we're saying yes, sir, a lot too.
we do.
Sorry. So every time
I say yes, sir, all the time. Like I tell everybody,
yeah.
yes, sir, because it's what I grew up doing.
There you
Dad
go.
always said, make sure you say yes, sir. So I'm like, yes, sir. Even my friends, like,
to show a little
Yes, sir.
respect.
yeah,
And some people nowadays don't even see it that way. They're like, "Oh, cool,
I know.
sweet," you know.
But
Doesn't mean a thing. But hey,
some people get offended by it. But anyways, welcome back to the Outdoor Talk Podcast. Before we get into this, let's listen to the intro.
can we imagine like the audience listening to it one more time? No, that would be sick. And I'm
know.
sure everybody was expecting that intro song to happen. So I apologize if it didn't, but we can always throw it in there if we need to.
I'll throw it in there for you.
Dude, that's so awesome.
I know.
That's
I love it.
great.
It gets me fired up. I'm
Every
ready to do
time.
another podcast.
Every time, man. Hey, okay, so mail time.
Mail time.
Mail time is something that I'd like to establish. We've talked about it, discussed it.
You've got mail.
Yes, you've got mail. Mail time. It's like Blue's Clues back in the day when you're about 5 years old. Exactly. That's what we're wanting. So it seems to, it always plays out like this. If we do one podcast a week,
Yeah.
set down to record, you've either got something in the mail for the upcoming season, for the season that we're in, or I have something come in. And I
Yeah.
think it would be great to just talk a little bit about mail time. So
Well,
I know you got a package this week.
Yep.
So tell us what you got.
Well, we're always buying new gear. I feel like every hunting season, as soon as it gets around the corner, we're like, oh, I need this, I need
Good
that, which you really don't. But sometimes, if you want it, and it's like ingrained in your head, you're like, I got to get it. But
Yep.
it's not going to help you do anything. But at this time, I actually needed this product because my bowstrings were getting a little frayed out. So I ordered me some new bowstrings. And I actually ordered this set of gas bowstrings for my Matthews bow probably about, 3 months ago. No, probably about 2 months ago. Yeah,
Two or 3 months.
about 2 or 3 months ago. And I just got them in.
So these gas strings, though, they're super bright orange, and they have, what are these called right here?
Speed Knox.
The Speed Knox. And I was telling him, because what are they? Crazy Monkeys?
The monkey tails, little silencers, string
Monkey
silencers.
tails. And that right there, I'm all about the accessories. Okay, if my
Aesthetics.
strings look as good as yours do right here, his setup right here, he's got his bow press mounted onto our podcasting table, which is awesome. He's a DIY guy, right? 4.0 in anything he does. And he's got his bow set up in his bow press, and this is the first time I've actually been able to see it basically in use.
Yeah.
And although he's not doing anything with it, man, y'all should see the setup.
Yeah, well, I just put a new set of gas bowstrings on here, like you said, and got some stuff in the mail. Had to get a new set of strings because my strings are frayed, so I just put these suckers on, and I went with orange this time, so it's kind of
Man,
orange.
oof.
And my bow is that granite gray, I think that's what they call it, and they just pop. I really like the orange.
Looks
it's really
good.
sick, and I've had the factory strings, like 2 sets of them, and they just don't last.
So even if you rub your fingers across it, they already feel waxed. Like
Yeah.
I guess they're pre-waxed or whatnot. Now actually, it's cool because it's like a big tube of chapstick, but for your bowstrings.
Yeah.
And I keep it in my case, my hard shell case. Okay, controversy, probably topic, but I do want to discuss it real quick. Hard shell or soft shell case? For your
Personally,
bow?
I would rather have a hard shell case, just a little more protection. But I have a soft case, so I can't say anything about it because I haven't bought one yet. But I do need to get one for like future trips because it's nice to throw your bow in the back of the truck instead of in the back seat. When the soft case, you really don't want to throw that sucker in the back, piling stuff on top of it because it's soft and it doesn't have that protection like on your sight and stuff like a hard case would. Now it will protect your strings and like stuff from bumping into it, and it's easy to carry and stuff. But I would prefer a hard case personally.
Okay, so but when you go on a bow hunting adventure, like in town, like let's say you go out to your land east of town,
Yeah.
Do you put your bow in the soft shell case,
Yeah.
or
My
do you
bow-
just throw it in the back seat and then go?
Yeah, I just throw it in the back seat. My bow lives in that case. And sometimes, like, when I'm
Okay.
getting in and out of the stand, like, I'll have the case somewhere close by. Like, it might be in the floor of the back of the truck.
Okay.
It's a soft case, so it kind of folds up.
Right.
And sometimes I'll just set the bow in the back, or I try to put it back in the case. So that way I know everything's right where it's at. I got my release in there. I got
Yeah.
my stabilizers in there.
Everything.
My whatever, everything. Quiver, arrows. I've got extra D-loop material. I've got pliers, I've got lighters, you name it. Whatever I need to do to fix my bow, if something goes wrong in the field, it's in my bow case. So
Perfect.
that's one reason why I have a bow case.
So that's why you always keep it in your truck, and that's
Yep.
why you always throw your bow in there before you go hunt.
Exactly.
See, the hard case, the downfall with it is it takes up, it's bulky, it takes up
Yeah.
a lot of space, and I don't even like throwing the hard case in the back, but the great thing about a hard case is mine has a little tackle box in it.
Yep, I got
So,
a tackle box in that one.
I
in the
throw,
front. Yep.
Yep, I throw Luminox, anything, if it's extra Nox or whatnot, field tips or,
Yeah.
your broadheads.
Mhm.
So it's really cool. But I did want to ask you that. I didn't know. I just always see you have a cool bow. It's really like the newest
the same-
one, the newest
no.
bow in every
This is
every
a 2018
episode.
model. 2018 model.
2018.
Yeah, this is a Matthews Triax. I really like this bow. And I just hadn't had the need to go buy a brand new one, I would like to try the new V3. It's
Oh,
sick.
I know you already got one picked
But,
out.
yeah, and they might trade this sucker in. I don't know, but there's nothing wrong with it. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But my string was about to break, so I fix it.
There you go.
understand?
There you go.
But,
And it legitly looks brand new.
I know. I want to swap out some of the dampeners and stuff for orange dampeners just to go with the aesthetics and everything, which it means nothing, but in my eyes it looks cool. I'm building some arrows right now with orange veins and white wraps, so it's
Ooh.
going to stand out. And I really like the flashy arrow veins and wrap setup just so you can see it. Like when you hit it, looks totally different than what's in the woods. So like when it sticks in the ground, or
Right.
say your Luminoc pops out or something, you might be able to find that arrow just a little easier because it's bright.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, color schemes wise, since you've been building your own arrows for a little over a year now, maybe
a little
two.
a little over a year, maybe 2 years now.
Out
2
of
years,
all
actually,
the
yeah.
colors that you worked with, what do you think is best revealed in the woods after shooting, an arrow from 20 foot up? What color?
So before we start on that, it's actually been 3 years because I bought this bow in 2018. And that's when I
Dang.
started building my own arrows and stuff.
Getting into FOC and everything like that.
Exactly. So my favorite color scheme is a white wrap with some bright fletchings, either pink, yellow, orange. That's what I like. I like the white wrap because the blood shows up really good on it.
Oh, yeah.
And I really like the bright, any kind of like a neon-y color fletchings because they stand out in the woods. They stand out when they're flying. It's almost like a Luminoc. In some states, you can't have Luminocs or lighted Nocs, and so you need those bright fletchings just so you can see your arrow track.
Right.
Especially for video purposes, it just kind of stands out just a little bit more than like a dark, neutral-looking color. Maybe like a dark brown, or a dark blue sometimes even doesn't show up very good. But
Yeah.
these
And
bright,
I know you have used like a turquoise blue. Really,
Yeah.
it's probably a little darker than that.
Yeah,
but
it was
that
a-
blue was really cool that
Yeah.
I had seen, and you probably have one laying around over
I
here
do
somewhere.
somewhere. I don't know where it's at. Somewhere over there, but I had turquoise and pink,
Mm.
and they were really bright, and they just kind of, I don't know, something different. I saw a video on YouTube of some guys that had a bunch of different, just random colored, like none of their arrows were the same.
Yeah.
And I just thought it's so cool. Like,
Yeah, it is
I just
cool.
gonna throw a bunch of stuff together, and so some of these are alternating colors. Like this one's pink and yellow, and white wraps, and I don't know. It's just something.
That it is cool because you can diversify your arrow, what it looks like, and it's yours. So
Yeah.
if you're ever shooting with your buddies, and you're like, hey, your arrow looks like a Walmart brand arrow, and I've got my gold tip, customized arrow, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now the brands, if you want to go into brands, I don't have a certain brand that I like.
Okay.
I shoot them all. Like I try different stuff. Like the first year I got this bow, I bought a set of gold tip kinetic Pierce, and they were great with a micro diameter, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
shot great, penetrated really good. And then the following year I went with the Easton Axis heavier arrow. It's a lot heavier arrow actually, grains per inch. And then this year I went with the Black Eagle Rampage. I really like those so far.
that sounds like a
They're just a plain, solid carbon arrow, but they're really good manufactured. There's 1.01 straightness, 0.001 straightness, which is super straight, and they're lighter grains per inch, so you can load the front up a little heavier. Because I like a little bit more FOC than most people.
we all know that heavier arrow, more penetration,
But as long as your arrow's
easier to kill.
as long as your arrow's flying good, it really don't matter how heavy it is or how much weight you have up front. You just want that perfect arrow flight. That's the main goal.
On top of that, too, you just got to make sure whatever you're shooting at is positioned properly.
Yeah, that
because if
too.
it's quartered away, okay, if it's quartered away or quartered to, you really have less of the opportunity to make a mistake. But when it's broadside, you really open it up a lot
Yeah.
of room there.
Yeah, you're right. And it just depends on your situation. when you're elk hunting or something, the elk are usually coming in hot. They're coming right towards you. So you might have to shoot a frontal shot.
Yeah.
You might not get that perfect broadside. So I would say you bump up over 500 grains minimum, in my opinion. You can shoot them with whatever. It don't matter.
Right.
But with a quarter, like facing towards you, you have a smaller entrance to the vitals because you're shooting them in the chest.
Mm-hmm.
Like a whitetail, they're smaller. The bone structure's less dense, so that you're penetrating less dense bone, so it's a lot easier to get in there with any setup, really.
But a 200-pound deer,
Yeah.
a 200-pound plus deer, that's a big deer.
Mm-hmm.
So it is. I would highly recommend a higher FOC. And you've actually, I'm a changed man to this point
Yep.
right now when it comes to arrows.
Yep.
Because all the knowledge that you've gained by building your own arrows and putting in your own insert, everything from
Look at it like
start
this.
to finish.
When you throw a dart,
Yeah.
all the weight on the dart is up front, and it just throws like a perfect track.
Right.
So that's pretty much what you're doing. You're making a big dart that's your bow's going to be pushing. And then once it pushes, all the weight goes to the front and it's being pulled. That sums it up pretty good.
It honestly, but it's how you were raised into it too. Because the guy, like when the first set of arrows that I ever picked up, I went to Bass Pro Shop. I had a Bowtech Diamond bow, real cheap, or I say cheap.
Entry level.
Right, entry level bow, and it tops out at 40 pounds, I think, or topped out at maybe like 50. Draw
Yeah.
length was 29 max, and I ended up outgrowing that bow pretty quick. But the dude at Bass Pro, he's like, "Gold Tip, man, it's the best brand out there, and you'll never go wrong with them."
Yeah.
And like even to this day, you're saying Eastwind, you're saying what was the second brand that you went with?
Black Eagle.
Black Eagle. All these
shot
brands.
I've shot the Walmart stuff. I've shot the Bass Pro brands, the Cabela's brands. It really don't matter what arrow you go with, as long as it's flying good.
Right.
That's all you need. You want a good arrow flight, and then you start bumping up the weight, getting you a cut on contact broadhead, and all that good stuff, because it takes more kinetic energy to expand an expandable blade.
Right.
So in a cut on contact, it takes like 4 or 5 foot-pounds just to push it through something.
Man,
So,
those are sharp too. You can shave with them in the stand.
Yeah, and if I could give anybody some advice, sharpen your broadheads to a razor sharp. That right there, no matter what you do, what kind of arrows you shoot, how much weight you're shooting, sharpen your broadheads, make sure they fly good, and you will have way more success in the field. Promise you.
What sharpening tool do you recommend that all the listeners out there to use?
Yeah, well, I'm
sharpening
kind of
these.
like a fanatic on knife sharpening. Like I love just sitting there sharpening my knife. Every day I come home, almost every day, I have a leather strop, and I'll go there and strop my knife just because I use it on the daily. I cut like boxes and tape and whatever at work. And so I like a stone. I like a whetstone.
A whetstone.
So a whetstone is like, it's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
You soak your stone in water, and then you sharpen your knives on it. And I just grew up doing that, and I've always stuck with it, and it works great for me. And then after I get on sharpening it on a stone, then I'll take it on a leather strop, and I'll strop it to kind of take any rolled edges off and buff that.
Now, do you keep your broadhead on the actual arrow with
Yes.
itself so it's easier to sharpen, or do
Yeah.
you just take it and hold it?
I usually leave it on the arrow and just hold the whole arrow,
Okay.
and then use it as a guide and just kind of sharpen it. And
Sweet.
Sharpening a broadhead is kind of an art to it, but once you figure it out, it's super beneficial. And I promise you, a sharp broadhead is a world of difference when it comes to hitting an animal. A dull broadhead, terrible.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it just pulls, and like a soft tissue of an animal. When it's being pulled through there, it just kind of deflects around it. But if you have a sharp broadhead, it cuts right through it. And if you ever shaved your neck or something with a razor, super sharp,
Yeah,
and it bleeds, it takes forever to stop bleeding.
exactly.
So when you have a dull something, your blood clots faster. So when you have something like a razor sharp edge and cutting through tissue or whatever, it takes longer for it to clot up.
Not only is he a 4.0 student in the DIY section of life, he's
Just
also a
think about
4.0 student in razors. Let's go. Yes, sir.
Dollar Shave Club, baby.
Dude, hey, if Dollar Shave Club, if you're listening, hey, reach
Or
out.
Harry's, they're good too.
Look, I can't grow a beard like you. You grow a luscious beard, and I've got Russian peach fudge over here. You know what I'm saying?
I remember the one time
Scraggly.
you told me I got goat fur on my face. or
Yeah,
something like-
basically.
But yeah, I got these new strings. I'm pretty pumped up for the season. All I got to do now is paper tune this bow. I've already timed the cams, and now I just got to paper tune it. Just because I want to make sure it's shooting back where it was.
Right.
Because I just put a new D loop on, new peep sight, and make sure when everything's. I just want to make sure everything's back where it was.
But see, if you're not an experienced bow hunter like yourself, or at least able to work on your bow, like because you have all the equipment that it takes to do so,
Yeah.
would you recommend anybody out there listening to this, if they are wanting to step up their FOC, or if they're wanting to change any arrow setup, maybe get new strings? Personally, I recommend you do that now before the season starts. We got
100%.
a month. We have a
I
month
think
until we're shooting.
You should have
big
done it
deer.
last month, last 2 months.
Yeah.
Really, ideally, because these string manufacturers, think about it. Everybody's trying to buy new strings right now.
Right.
So everybody's doing it. Like I had to wait 2 or 3 months for these strings.
Yeah.
Just because they were so busy. And this is a smaller company. It's not a huge company that's just producing strings.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a better quality string. But yeah, order these like way in advance so you have them in time for the season, or order you some strings so you have some backups for the season, because you never know if you're going on a hunt out of state.
Right.
You might break some strings, and you might have to run down the local pro shop and get your strings put on, or if you have a bow press in your truck, they have these mobile bow presses now. They're so cool.
That's great. You said that. I was like, really? A bow
Yeah.
press in your truck?
Yeah, they
but
get
you're
these-
being serious.
It's kind of like a ratchet strap type deal, and it just ratchets. I don't know. It's pretty cool.
That is neat. I like this bow setup that you had, though.
Yeah.
What's this? Is this Easy Green?
Yeah, this is a Last Chance Archery. This
Nice.
is like their entry level bow press. It's kind of like the DIY person, and it's a great bow press for the money. It does exactly what you want it to do: press the bow.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I got all my. I wanted to start doing my own bow work and building my arrows, cutting my own arrows, fletching them, doing my own bow work on my bow. Just because it takes time out of your day to go meet somebody at the pro shop.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they're not open on these smaller shops.
Cost more money, too.
Cost more money. Yeah, exactly.
Or they might not have the brand or the string color that you're wanting, and you can go get your own.
Exactly. So, but I would, if a new person's doing it, I would highly recommend you go to a pro shop
Yeah.
and just talk to those guys, because they're the pros. They really know what they're doing. Don't just jump into it and get everything you need. But I mean, you could like watch some YouTube videos, kind of what I did, and now I feel like I know what I'm doing.
Exactly.
But I've also worked on my own equipment, so I know the ins and outs of like how it works.
Now, so you put that bowstring on fresh. What was it? Last night you worked
Last
on it
night.
for a couple hours. I'd
Yeah.
say. And now I'm looking at your D loop there. What is that called exactly?
That's
you
your
can cut
D-loop.
that out.
Your
It is a
D-loop.
D loop.
Yeah.
So I see your D loop there, and I have you seen the metal
Yeah, I
D loops? Do you recommend it or no? No.
Mm-mm.
Why would you not recommend the metal D loop?
I wouldn't recommend metal D loop because they don't flex.
Okay.
And when I shoot a handheld release, and all the flex is coming in the D loop, and you don't want to torque your string. So that metal D loop is going to actually, when you twist say you're shooting a handheld, when you pull it up to your face, you're actually twisting.
Yes.
So you're twisting the D loop and not the string. So you don't want to put torque on your string. If you put torque on your string, you're going to get bad arrow flight.
So if you do have the metal D loop, you will actually use the handheld release that it's like the wrist strap.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would probably work better because that one, it twists on the on a axis instead of
Right.
the handheld. It twists with your wrist.
Exactly.
So, yeah, you wouldn't want to do that. That would and metal on metal just makes noise in the woods, and it's just not my cup of tea.
Last season, Nelson had been shooting the handheld release probably for a finger release. I don't know what you call it, thumb hole release.
Yeah, just a handheld
just
release.
a handheld release, and it's not attached to anything. And I made the switch last season, and I'll never go back to a wrist strap.
Once I made the switch to handheld release, I will never go back. I'm more accurate with this thing. I feel like I can control my shot better,
Exactly.
and I get you want that. It doesn't matter. It depends on how you shoot, but ideally you want that kind of surprise shoot.
Exactly.
Quote unquote. Like you don't want to you want to know it's shooting, but you want that where you don't flinch as much. I
Right.
don't know. When you shoot a rifle and you do that soft squeeze on the trigger pull, it's the same thing.
Right.
So you just kind of go along with your thumb. So you have a thumb release here, and then you just slowly pull, and then it finally goes off.
I honestly feel like, too, by using your thumb instead of your trigger finger, you're more accurate. You're so used to that movement
Yeah.
of, hey, I'm pulling this, and I know it. Your brain responds to it. You're not thinking about it, but it just does.
I know.
And so with that thumb release, it does throw you a little curveball, and you're like, did I really just shoot?
Yeah, I know. And I feel like with the thumb, like you said, you get a more controlled, and you're not
Yes.
punching it. I feel like
Right.
a trigger finger, you're just kind of like whacking it, like
Yeah.
just punch,
You're like,
and
I gotta get
and then
this
you
off.
flinch, and then you might shoot the deer somewhere bad or miss or your target or whatever it is. I just feel like this is, and my anchor point on my face is just, it feels more comfortable, more natural, and it just a better shot.
Speaking of anchor point, it's super essential for you, any of you out there that are bow hunting this season or have bow hunted in the past seasons, to have some type of anchor point, some type of routine.
Yeah.
For golf,
sure.
it's a huge ordeal. It always has been. Hey, you need a steady routine. You need a routine because
Yeah.
if somebody yells in the background or whatever it may be,
Mm-hmm.
you redo your routine and then your mind's cleared and you know it's game time. Same concept. When the deer
Yeah.
walks out, you've got your routine. And the great thing about the thumb release is it stays on your bow continuously. You're
Yeah.
not searching for your release, or you're not making noise with it by slapping something on
there-
your phone when you're getting your phone out or whatnot.
Yeah, there's
So-
different ones that just clip on,
Right.
or like hang on. Like you can't hang it there, but this one I hear is a it's a Carter release, and it's able to clip on the string, so I can just
Yes.
leave it there. And when the deer comes in, I just grab my release, draw.
You're always ready.
But like you said, anchor points. It's really good to have like 2 or 3 anchor points. So you want to have a facial anchor point, like say your thumb behind your neck, or you split your 2 fingers on your jawbone, somewhere right there where your
Right.
release is. And then you want the tip of your nose touching your string in the exact same spot every time. And then your third is you want to match up your peep sight with the housing of your sight. And that way you have 3 alignment points, so you can get the exact same thing every time. So you make the same shot every time. So you're more accurate.
There you go.
Yep.
That is a great description. I was over here taking notes the whole time.
I saw you been writing down on my tables what you're doing. But hey, I want to talk about real quick. I want to talk about elk season. It is September 3rd right now,
It's
boys.
the third.
And elk season, I think it just started September 2nd here in Colorado, or maybe September 4th. I'm not 100% sure on that. But in the past couple of years, I've been fortunate to go on my fair share of elk hunts and
bear hunts.
bear hunts, out-of-state hunts. I'll just
Right.
say that.
Out of state hunts. I like it.
And this is the time of the year that everybody's getting out and going to do it, and everybody might be in the woods right now doing it. It's just great.
So just tell us about your past your elk experience. How the trip went,
All right.
where you went, and how it went, I guess.
Well, so I think it was 2019. Me and a couple buddies, we went to Idaho. That trip was a rough trip. We drove and drove and drove, putting miles on the truck, and one spot I can remember it like it's yesterday. We weren't, I don't know, three quarters of a mile from the truck, and we started finding some elk sign.
Ooh.
Like really fresh elk sign. And we are kind of on top of this ridge, and we weren't far from the truck at all. We were trying to get way back in there, but we
Yeah.
ran across this sign, which wasn't far from the truck, and that kind of, like everybody says, you got to get miles and miles and
Yeah.
miles away from the trucks, away from the roads. That's where the elk are. These elk were right beside the road, like a mile, which is not very far. So we set up there and we hunted it, just never connected. But the following year, I went back. I went to Colorado. Me and my wife, my girlfriend,
Fiance.
my fiance.
There it
yeah,
is.
there it is. And that trip was a lot more. That was a lot more fun.
Well, Nelson, you really aren't saying any of the bad stuff that had happened on that first trip. And let me tell you, about anything that could go wrong on the trip went wrong. Somebody
That
didn't
was
have
the third trip.
Third? No way. That was not the
So-
last trip.
No, so okay, that was the last trip. But last year I went twice. I had an archery tag in my
Oh, that's
pocket.
what it is.
So me and my fiance, we went up to Colorado to do a DIY elk hunt. I'm a tongue twister today, boys. But we drove up there, me and her. First day, we're driving around. It's a Labor Day weekend. There's people everywhere riding four-wheelers and making all this noise. And we're like, what are we doing here? This is the wrong spot. But we stuck it out. We were like, all right, we're going to hike this trail up in the morning. And we hike this trail up, and it takes us 4 hours to get up there. And we thought it was going to be like nothing. You talking about steep. I'm not kidding. It was so freaking steep. It took us 4 hours to get up there. And once we got up there, we stopped, took a break, had some lunch, just chilled for a minute. And then I guarantee you, not even 200 yards from where we just sat down eating, I started calling. And the first call, this bull comes running in about 80 yards and stops and just starts raking a tree. And my heart goes to pounding.
Yes, sir.
I picked my rangefinder up and I start ranging all kinds of stuff. And I can't see through the suckers. I'm shaking so bad. It was crazy.
That's what it's all about right there.
I know.
That's
That was the
awesome.
most. I mean, I thought we were about to kill this bull. And I could just see him barely through like the trees. Like I said, he's about 80 yards away. And I don't have a pin for that. And it's just no way. It's so thick in these woods. So we sit there and we hunt this bull for a little while. And I don't know where he went. He either backtracked, smelt us, hurt us, or something. But we make our way towards where he came from, and we get down there, and there's like wallow after wallow with elk just been. It's his bedroom. Man.
Yeah.
This is his bedroom, and he's destroyed everything in there.
His territory.
His territory. So we kind of made the mistake of camping close by. We camped probably 200 yards, 300 yards from where we saw that elk, which is a big no-no. You need to get a lot farther away.
Good learning lesson, though.
Good learning lesson, but it was a heck of a trip. That night, actually, me and Elise were in the tent, and I just fell asleep. Like I was out.
Yeah.
I don't think it was an hour into sleep, and Elise wakes me up. She's like, "Hey, there's something outside." I was like, "Go to sleep. It's probably just an elk or something." She's like, "No, there's something outside." I was like, "What, you mean shine my flashlight?" I was kind of like tired, not mad, but I was tired.
Right.
We done hiked 4 hours up a mountain.
Exactly.
But so I unzipped the tent, I shine my flashlight, and that bull elk is like 20 yards from my tent.
No
And he
way.
just bolts, like takes off. He's right there.
No.
And it sounds like a dang freight train is just blowing through the woods, just crashing down everything.
Jeez.
I freaked Elise out. My heart starts pumping. It's dark. We can't do anything about it. So we're like, well, I guess we'll get up in the morning and go hunt that elk.
Yeah.
Man, it was crazy. It was she didn't sleep all night long, and I was like after my heart stopped racing, I just passed out. I was out.
There it
Woke up
was.
next morning. We got up and we started hunting that elk. We heard one bugle that morning, and then just couldn't get on that elk. I think we just blew him out of the country, and I don't know. It was a bad mistake. Looking back, I won't camp that close to his bedroom. I'll go find my own bedroom somewhere in the woods.
Yeah.
But
You're just letting other hunters know where they are, so
Yes.
you might as well camp a little bit away, ways out.
But on our way out of there that morning, I peeked around a corner. It's kind of like a real thick spot with like a park area. There was I looked around the corner of this park area. I don't say park. It's like just an open terrain, like a pasture.
Okay,
That's what they call a park up there in the mountains. And
I was like, a park?
I seen something
have a
orange.
slide?
Yeah.
No.
I see something orange way across there, and there's a muzzleloader hunter guy.
Oh,
So we had to turn around, go back where we came from. And we just decided, let's go find another area. We kind of blew the elk out of the country out here. And we go to another spot. And then, make a long story short, Elise got a call. Her family members weren't doing too good, so we had to leave. So we were only there 4 days. But it was a heck of a trip. I got some spots in mind, so next time we get up there, I'll be ready to go.
Yes, sir. Dude, that's awesome. And I don't even know if I heard that full story or not.
Yeah.
The description of the elk running through the woods and crashing through everything. Man, it's a great sound to hear a doe or a buck in the leaves in the hardwoods, when you're bow hunting in October, just crash. You're like, yes, sir, I got him. I'm ready for you to hear that crash of a big bull elk. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
And we both have a mutual friend that actually went up several years and attempted to take it and harvest an elk.
Yeah, I just talked to him today, and he's headed up there this Wednesday because he's got a muzzleloader tag. So he's going up there muzzleloader hunting.
Very nice.
He's normally a bow hunter, but he drew a muzzleloader tag, and so he's headed up there. But that sucker right there, he's an elk hunting sucker.
He
goes by himself,
right?
Travels. We live in Northeast Texas, and he goes all the Colorado, 13, 14-hour drive by himself. Goes hikes in miles. He gets way back in there.
But see, not to cut you off, but see, 2 years ago when we were at college, he was in college.
Yeah.
And the Joker would literally miss like 2 weeks worth of school because he would go chase elk.
I know it.
And he literally supplied our whole entire apartment, not the complex, but our building.
Yeah, with elk meat.
With elk meat and burgers.
I
And that
know.
is the
And
best burger
boy.
that I've had in a long time.
I know. I can't wait to get back up there this year. Well, actually, this year I'm not going. I'm sorry. I can't wait to get back up there next year. Next year we got a planned hunt, and we're going to head back up there and start chasing them elk. But, that
Hopefully we'll get to see some footage of that. And I know you have some previous footage of your past hunts.
Yeah.
Bear hunting and elk hunting on your channel.
Well, that elk hunt I was explaining about, the one that came up to our tent.
Yeah.
Wanted to say hello. We have that on the channel, and you can go check it out and see what we did wrong and how we were hunting and stuff. We had a lot of fun. Learned a lot. That's the whole point of that trip, really, was to learn as much as I can.
Right.
Because that was the main real elk hunt that I've been on. The first one was just like trying to learn the area and stuff, and it was just a hectic trip. Well, I'll tell you about this other elk hunt I went on the same year last year.
Yeah.
I went back with my brother and his friend. They had rifle tags.
Oh, this is a crazy, crazy story.
Oh my gosh, man. Well, okay. This trip is a third season. It was a second season Colorado elk hunt, rifle hunt. And if you don't know anything about second season, that's when the snow starts coming in, boys.
Mm-hmm.
And we get up there. Beautiful. It's nice out. We have mules. We brought mules and horses. And we try. Okay. I got to slow down.
Yeah.
I forgot some stuff. All right. So we're heading up there with our horse trailer and everything. And we get to the mountains. We get to our spot. And we get up there, and it's just not the place we want to pull the trailer in there. There's no water really for the horses. So we have to turn around, go back down the road, and we're taking these gravel roads miles of gravel roads. Well, me and Ben kind of doze off in the car, and Rance is going around the corner a little too sharp and runs off the road on this gravel road. And when you have a horse trailer on the back, it's a lot of weight. You got 2 mules, 3 mules in the back, well, 2 mules and a horse, and it's a lot of weight pushing that truck. Well, we slid off the ditch, and he just, thank goodness the fence was like off the ditch a little ways.
Yeah.
And he slid off, and that horse trailer was just so low to the truck bed, it actually torqued and bent the truck bed. He's got a Ford, and he's got that aluminum bed, and it just crushed one side of it.
Oh, man.
So that was like, we were like, oh, crap. Here goes this trip. You know how it is. Everybody's mad. Everybody's tired. So we finally get to another spot, get our horses out, get some feed and everything. It's going to be great. Head out the next morning. These horses are green, okay? I mean, they're not green, but they've been ridden. Road, whatever.
When you say green, what are you referencing?
Like they haven't been in the mountains in a while.
So
like
they're
like
pasture pets, basically.
Yeah, whatever.
I guess.
Okay, we get up there and these horses aren't acclimated very good. We just got there.
Yeah.
Okay. After we find that campsite that night, we go hunt the next morning and we ride these horses like 25 miles, and they are like worn smooth out.
No animal was harmed in the making of this film.
No, they're all fine now. But during this time, okay, we get to this spot, and it's like sweet. We're glassing and everything, and there's like this huge meadow. It's just beautiful. Well, there's a trail that keeps going in front of us, and it makes this huge loop. And Ben and them, we're looking at Onyx and stuff. We're like, all right, this trail, it comes back out close to where we're camped, but it's like 25 extra miles or 30 miles, a long ways. And it's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's going to get dark soon.
Man.
Well, I was like, no, let's head back the same way we came because we're a long ways in. And they're like, no, let's just keep going. So we're like, all right, whatever, it's going to get dark. Dude, we get down there and finally find the road to get back that circles back. And we're still like a long ways away. And it's starting getting dark. And our horses quit. Like they stop. Like they do not. We're getting off. We have to get off the horses and pull on the leads. And they will not even budge. Like they're just stuck. So we're sitting there chilling with the horses, and then we just kind of like lead them slowly, just walking. I'm telling you, we're probably, 10, 15 miles still from the truck. Long ways. Here we see some headlights driving up this gravel road. It's a game warden. So the game warden pulls up, checks our license and everything, and she's like, are y'all very familiar with horses and stuff? Like, yeah. I have no idea. Rance is like, yeah, I ride these old suckers all day long, whatever. He's a cowboy. He's a rancher.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just riding this horse that I borrowed from a friend. And she's like, well, they're pretty lame. And I didn't know that was a horse term.
Yeah, I don't even know what lame means.
I was like, I laughed, like, huh, yeah. Like, it's like lame, like kind of like funny or whatever. But supposedly that means like worn out and like not in good shape.
That's not good.
And she kind of like took that as like, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So she was like, y'all might want to tie these horses up and just walk back and then go with the truck. Well, we're a long ways away, and she's like, all right, we'll just keep walking them. She drives off the other way, and we're still walking down this road, long way.
This is crazy.
We're not even close to the trucks.
Yeah.
And here she comes back again. It's been like an hour since we saw her.
Yeah.
And she's like, my brother goes, hey, you think you can take us to our truck? So we tie up the horses and mules. Rance gets in with her. It's an hour and a half drive back to the truck from where we're at. Around the mountain.
Holy.
So me and Ben were sitting there underneath the tree. It's dark. It's freezing outside. And
what was the temperature?
Well, right then it was about like high 50s.
High 50s. So
40 degrees.
It's not terrible.
But it's dropping. It gets like 30 degrees at night.
And you're dealing with the snow.
Not yet. The snow. I haven't got to that part yet.
Okay.
So while Rance is in the car going around with her, me and Ben are just chilling, just sitting underneath this tree, like with the horses, like sleeping pretty much. Rance doesn't come back till like 3 hours later because an hour and a half there, an hour and a half back. Okay, so 3 hours later, Rance shows up. Rance, it's not Ranch. Rance shows up, and he's like, "Hey, the game warden told us there's storms coming in. She said you might want to get off the mountain. And when the local tells you to get off the mountain, a storm's coming in, you might want to get off the mountain."
Oh,
she said it's going to be negative 20 degrees, or was it negative 10 degrees?
Dang.
Something like that. It's going to be in the negatives, like negative 10, snow, everything. So he brought the truck around, and we're sleeping in his horse trailer. We sleep there. We get out the next morning, and it's starting to snow. So we get off the mountain, go get us a hotel, take our horses to the fairgrounds, because you can pay like $5 a day or something to keep your horses at the fairgrounds, something like that. Next morning, after we get up from our hotel room, dude, there's a blanket of snow like 8 inches deep, and it is like negative 10, negative 20 degrees out. It's freezing, and we're thank goodness we weren't on that mountain, because we wouldn't have got off. I mean, we'd have been stuck up there freezing our butts off. So the next day, we decided to drive a couple miles up a different unit, different spot. We get up there. We leave actually bring the horses with us, and we get up there and we get the truck stuck. So we have to unload the horses to get the truck out. But when we just left the truck there. We got our horses on, or got our horses saddled up. We ride up. We hunt till dark. See a ton of mule deer, and we come back. Have to get the truck unstuck without any weight on the trailer or anything. We get out, go back home. Same story. Next day we wake up. We go back up to the same spot we went. We get stuck again in the truck.
No way.
Yes, so we have to unload the horses, unload everything to lighten the load, to get back up the spot. We get up there, we're in the middle of the road, and we see a truck stopped. We pull up this truck, and this is a local guy. He's like, "Hey, there's some elk up here in the road. There's like 30 elk in the middle of the road."
No way.
So we make a stalk up there to them, and they're gone. We can't get them. Man, this is a trip, bud. We finally get past this guy, and we go find another campsite. We're going to camp for the night, and there's still snow all over the ground, so you can see fresh tracks everywhere. It's going to be great. Well, that night, we start riding our horses down to a spot, and we go down to this water hole, and I think it was the next morning, actually. We go down to the water hole. We go down to the water hole that's frozen solid.
Oh, man.
To get our horses a drink, and my horse... He's not the smartest, and I'm not no horse whisperer. And that horse goes running out in the middle of that pond and busts through the ice.
No.
And yes, but it's not a deep pond. It's like maybe like 2 or 3 foot deep.
Little ply, maybe.
Yeah, but little small pond. And but the ice is probably like 6 inches thick.
Oh, no.
Which is a lot, but it's not enough to hold a horse. The sucker busts through and freaks out.
Really?
Yes, and I'm sitting there riding the horse and like on
is
it.
It bucking? Like, is it throwing up?
He's just freaking out. He's stuck.
Yeah.
Ben's like, "Get off the horse. What are you doing?" Like, yelling at me, and I just like, get off. That horse is freaking out. I'm pulling on the lead. Can't get him out. And he finally just works himself out, and he's cut up from that ice.
No.
And I was like, I'm done. I'm going back to camp. Yeah. I walked that sucker back to camp. Ben and them went hunted. They didn't see nothing. Oh, man, it was
just
a trip.
An experience. So originally I thought it was your first trip that was such a crazy hunt.
Wasn't that bad, but it was
crazy
similar.
Experience, should I say. Yeah, it was the last one that was so rough. It was rifle season too. Your main reason why you went was to help Ben potentially get his first elk with the rifle.
I just wanted a video Ben and Rance shoot a deer or shoot an elk, and I just wanted to be there to vlog the whole thing. Yeah. And it was just a trip and a half.
And it just turned into some chaotic trip, man. Getting the truck stuck twice. Dealing with 8 inches of plus of snow.
I know.
Dealing with. Okay. I can only imagine having the frustration that it would cause dealing with a horse or donkeys for 3 days, and then your horse looking at that, just running into it, and you being on it. It's like, hey, are you going to throw me off in this 6 inches worth of ice? I mean, I don't even know what it is.
Well, they weren't donkeys; they were mules. And mules are super smart. Mules are made for the mountain. Ben was on a mule, and Rance was on a mule. I'm on a horse.
Oh, okay.
And these mules are like, I think a mule. I don't know this for a fact. You might correct me on this, but I think a mule can see its back feet and a horse can't. Okay. So a mule, when he's up on the mountain, it's like his habitat. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's more sure-footed, so much more comfortable to ride the mountains. That's what they're made for. Horses, on the other hand, they freak out like on the steep stuff. Yeah. They trip over rocks. This sucker is not made for the mountains. Plus, it was the first day we were there, and we wore them out.
Yeah, just unknown territory and working them too much, I guess.
Now, if you have a horse that's like acclimated to the area and that runs it all the time, that's great. That's what you need. But bringing something up there that haven't seen the mountains in a long time or have ever, That's probably not the smartest thing to do, bud.
Well, okay. So since we discussed your previous hunts now, what is one piece of advice that you would give somebody that wants to go elk hunting in September in Colorado, New Mexico, wherever?
Yeah.
Which I don't know if there's a September season in New Mexico, but
New
I'm sure-
Mexico, you have to draw. So
Oh,
New
that's what
Mexico
it
is
is.
a draw state. Colorado, you can draw or over the counter. It's they have the biggest. Colorado has the biggest elk population in the United States.
How many units? Do you know how many units?
I'm
they
not
have?
100% sure on that. There's a bunch over
It's
the
probably
counter.
crazy.
Units. There's quite a few. There's probably, I would say 60 or so,
Yeah.
or maybe more. I don't know, or less. But there's a bunch of over the counter units. So anybody can go grab a tag. You can buy your tag online. You can go up there.
You can
and-
draw for the tags
You
too
can
in
draw.
Colorado because some of the units that you get to draw for, and if you get picked, you have a better chance.
Yeah, you
is
have
what
a-
I've heard.
Yeah, you get a better chance of hunting away from people. That's the biggest goal.
Oh, okay.
There's more people on the over the counter because it's open to everybody. But the draw hunts, like if you draw that spot, you're just narrowing down there's less people are gonna be hunting that spot.
Yeah, exactly.
But go ahead.
No, I was just thinking about all the preparation that you did
Yeah.
for the
Lot.
upcoming hunt
Yep.
that you went on, and Nelson ended up taking a backpack full of rocks to the gym. Is that what it was?
I had a corn sack in the
No, that's what it is. It was a 50-pound corn sack in his backpack, and he was doing the Stairmaster at the local gym here in Paris with it. This is dedication, and that's preparation. So when he got to the mountains,
ready to go.
He was ready to go.
Yeah, just got to get them legs in shape because that's what you're doing. You're hiking around.
Exactly.
That's my preferred method: is hiking in, camping with your camp on your back and camping, and then just hunting the land.
Yeah.
That's why I want to do it with my bow. I probably won't go back another rifle season unless it's something I don't know. And
Unless
it's gonna
you're
be
really,
hard.
really hungry for an elk.
Yes, it's gonna be hard to get me up there during rifle season again. But unless I drew a tag or something. But if I could give anybody some information or some tips on something to get up there,
Yeah.
just find some sign and then hunt the elk. Don't hunt the sign. Don't hunt the country. Hunt the elk.
Hunt the
Because
elk.
when you're up there, you're always looking for like the perfect location, like you might see on TV. Like, oh, there's gonna be elk here. There might not be elk there, but the terrain looks good.
Yeah.
You're hunting the terrain. You're not hunting the elk. So
Exactly.
get up there and hunt the elk. That's the only thing I can tell you.
Any tips for the bugle?
The bugle, I bugled several times, but that bull that I called him in with a cow call.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't touch the bugle. I didn't bugle yet. I just cow called like 3 or 4 times, and that sucker come running in and then started raking a tree. And what I should have done, I should have got a lease to stand like farther behind me.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's another elk back behind me.
Yeah.
And I should have got her to rake a tree and tear it up.
Ooh.
While
that's
I was
smart.
over there
Yeah.
ready for the shot, because that might have brought him in a little closer, because he hung up, and it's kind of like a turkey. Like a turkey, they'll be gobbling, they'll hang up so far out of distance,
Right.
and they won't come any closer. So if somebody's behind you calling, like farther back, maybe the elk will split the difference with you, and you'll get a shot.
There you go.
Yeah.
Man, that's a crazy experience.
I
One
know.
for the books too.
Heck yeah. But I'm ready to get back up there next year. It's gonna be a blast. Archery season, be up there in the mountains next year.
What are you going to
And,
set your pin at? Your highest pin.
You know,
Yeah.
I run a single pin, so
Right,
I'm
right.
adjustable. But I always like when I'm in the mountains like that, I leave it on, or anywhere actually, in the tree stand, whatever. I leave that sucker on about 25 yards because I can shoot 25 and in, and I
Right.
can shoot about 40 yards without having to move my pin.
Perfect.
Just because my bow shoots pretty flat.
Yeah.
I do shoot a heavier arrow, a
Right.
pretty heavy arrow actually. But from my experience, I'm able to hold just a little higher or aim a little lower, just so I know where my pins are shooting. But I know my gear how it shoots.
Exactly.
So I'm confident with that. So, but like I said, if I'm set up to call, I'm ranging every tree and I'm knowing all the distance that I got, and I'm gonna set my pin somewhere in that distance. And then if I have the opportunity to dial, I'll dial. But
So what's the highest range that you feel comfortable shooting?
so
With
I
this
actually,
setup.
I mean, I can shoot 70 yards with my bow easy. Any farther than that, I can't dial it because I have a single pin, so my pin's dead center in the housing.
Right.
If I had a multi-pin, I could get my pins lower in the housing. But right now, since my pin's dead center, 70 yards is maxed out until my fletchings start hitting my housing on my sight.
And not to get too off topic, but I do know that they've come out with these sights nowadays that range
Yeah, I
Whatever
think Garmin makes one.
whatever you're shooting at, and they're accurate up to like 100 yards. I have a buddy that he's pretty avid bow hunter. He always kills hogs in the summertime, multiple, and he always kills multiple deer. He's even actually killed for management purposes, like I think 2 deer this season. So he's
Really?
always out there. But that joker spent the money on the range finding site, and he said he loves it, man.
Yeah.
Loves it.
I've never used one. I've seen them. I want to say they range it and then put a dot in the
Right.
in the reticle, like a kind of like a red dot system, where it looks like holographic or whatever, and they puts the dot where it needs to be for that range, which
It's
is crazy.
crazy. I know,
It's like
I know.
it's like I mean
Technology nowadays.
technology, yeah. But it's also, if you think about it, that's more batteries you got to put in it,
Yeah.
or you got to charge it. So that's something that could go wrong out in the field.
And one good thing about, I have a Mission by Matthews. It's the Riot.
Yeah.
It's not a super expensive bow. I think,
It's a great bow. Mission,
but
they make
it
great
is
bows.
it's a good bow, and it's done me well. I've killed a lot of deer with it. But one feature that I do like on my site that it actually came with, and it's a gold tip, or excuse me, is it gold tip sight? It's
Black gold.
black gold, excuse me, and it has the light on it, so
Yeah.
all my pins light up. But it
Yeah.
actually stopped working, so I gotta figure. I
You got to get a new
figure it out.
battery for it. Those are great, especially for low light conditions or hogs. Hogs underneath the feeder at night.
Dude, they always
the-
come in at like right
I
at
know.
the ending of the
Yeah,
hunt.
a light on your pin is so beneficial when you're hog hunting because you're shooting them up. Normally, it's like last light when them suckers come in,
Mm-hmm.
and you can just illuminate your pins just a little bit more so you can see them in the dark. It's a money game. It's a money game changer.
Game changer, but money bags.
Money bags.
afterwards. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, I think it's going to do it for this podcast. Thank y'all so much for listening. Little rabbit hole, not really rabbit hole, more about our elk hunts in the past. Y'all get ready for elk season this year.
A little bit of bow tuning.
A little bow tuning, a little tongue twisting because I'm crazy right now. I'm ready to go.
It's Friday. We got elk on the mind. It's September now, so
I know.
till what? Not till yet.
No, I think it's the 14th.
Till's the 14th, but we have dove season, and then later on we have geese as well. Early
Yep.
season geese, maybe 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
2 weeks out.
We're ready.
But we're pumped.
Yep.
Excited to bring y'all some fresh news. Maybe some mail time in the future.
More
So
mail
Stay
time.
tuned.
We got mail.
Mail time. No, I'm just kidding.
That was good. Thank y'all for listening. Hope y'all have a good hunting season. And make sure you stay tuned for more episodes of Outdoor Talk Podcast. Leave us a review on iTunes. And
Anything you want to
subscribe.
listen to, be sure to drop a comment down below so we can discuss
Yes,
a topic
sir.
of your choice.
All right. We'll see y'all later.
Peace.